It's intensely personal. It's getting more personal. They're going to discover more information that's going to make them angry. They're out to salvage their reputation, so there's not going to be an easy way to walk away from this and say, okay.
Picture the moment you realize your perfectly curated public image is disintegrating before millions of onlookers. Fans, tabloids, and even close industry friends start whispering about missteps you never imagined you'd make. That's exactly where this story begins. A seemingly untouchable Hollywood power couple plunges headfirst into a courtroom showdown that has everyone gasping for air. Rumors about shady deals, misleading evidence, and high-level connections swirl like a tempest around them, threatening not just their reputations, but the very fabric of trust in the entertainment world.
She wants different rules for her than she wants for Baldoni and his team, which I don't think the judge will agree with.
The real kicker? This case isn't shaping up to be an ordinary dispute. It's revealing exactly how entwined Hollywood's glitz can be with the raw and messy world of lawsuits, hidden agendas, and spin tactics. One moment, they're on top of the world, smiling for cameras and charming audiences. The next, they're scrambling to salvage credibility as judge, jury, and the court of public opinion demand real facts. Facts that can't be papered over by star power alone. Buckle up, this is one Hollywood script you'll want to watch until the final credits roll. The first sign something was off came when the lawsuit's initial filing read like a teaser trailer. Everyone knew a high-profile legal complaint was in the works, but nobody expected such dramatic flair. Accusations dripped with sensational language. Big names were dropped left and right. It was as though someone had intentionally inserted all the buzzwords guaranteed to dominate headlines for weeks on end. Legal insiders started asking whether the real objective was justice or just an avalanche of attention. Yet this wasn't some casual squabble over contract terms. At stake were reputations shaped by years of fan adoration and blockbuster films. According to those present at the early hearings, the star in question, already known for a flawless on-camera persona, entered the courtroom with all the confidence of someone who just stepped off a red carpet.
She wants different rules for her than she wants for Baldoni and his team, which I don't think the judge will agree with.
And if I were her attorney, I'd want to get out of this case before she has to sit for deposition, not just because it might be bad for the case, but PR-wise, it's not going to be good.
Every expert's going to skew it towards their view of the case. And then the penultimate question to the expert is, but you agree with me, the jury is able to determine for themselves what this video is showing.
But while the lights in Tinseltown might flatter, the glare of a judge does not. Observers couldn't help but notice how fast the confidence cracked when the judge demanded specifics over spectacle. Adding to the spectacle was the sheer volume of media swirling around the courthouse. Paparazzi jostled for position, capturing every micro-expression. Public relations teams dashed about, eager to frame the narrative in their client's favor. One day it seemed the star's supporters had the upper hand, wielding an airtight argument. The next, legal experts poked holes in their claims, turning the entire situation into a dizzying, back-and-forth drama that felt more cinematic than real. Not long into the legal melee, whispers of a secret tape began circulating. Initially dismissed as idle gossip, the story gained serious traction when a fragment of the audio emerged online. It featured a powerful industry agent, a person whose influence quietly shapes which actors succeed and which fade into oblivion, revealing the darker side of Hollywood alliances. The tape suggested that this case wasn't a standalone feud, but part of a broader culture where reputations can be destroyed simply by associating with the wrong person or refusing to play along with insider deals. For audiences used to seeing celebrities only on glittering stages, this was a jolt. Suddenly, it wasn't just about who said what in a lawsuit. It was about how careers are made or broken behind closed doors. The notion that two major stars might have used their connections to blacklist a colleague instantly stirred outrage. Fans took to social media wanting answers. Is it all just political maneuvering, or did someone genuinely overstep moral boundaries? When legal analysts got hold of the leaked tape, their eyebrows shot up. This wasn't just gossip. If the tape was admitted as evidence, it could blow the case wide open. The recorded admissions might prove direct efforts to sideline someone professionally without legitimate cause. If verified, it wouldn't just undermine the star couple's credibility, it could also drag top industry players into the fray. Talk about high stakes. Suddenly, the lawsuit had grown from a simple complaint to a potential Hollywood reckoning. Most legal complaints in such disputes hover around a modest 20 or 30 pages. They detail key events, relevant laws, and the damages sought. Straightforward, right? Not here. This complaint soared to nearly 180 pages, long enough to rival a trilogy's worth of plot twists. Filled with detailed timelines and emotional narratives, it read less like a standard legal document and more like an elaborate press release written under the guise of a lawsuit.
Actually, what I said last time is, of the 92-8 split, which is 92% of cases settled and 8 don't, this does meet criteria of being within that 8%. Because it's intensely personal.
Entertainment journalists who dared to sift through its countless paragraphs found page after page of descriptors about how traumatic or horrifying certain alleged incidents were, alongside hints of unimaginable wrongdoing. Yet actual legal substance, the kind that stands up in court, seemed oddly thin. One legal expert likened it to trying to find a needle of legitimate claim in a haystack of emotional venting. Meanwhile, the Star's legal team championed this extended format as necessary for telling the full story, claiming that only by diving deep into each allegation could justice be served. The other side, however, insisted that the sheer length was a calculated PR stunt designed to overwhelm the public with sensational details. The real story, they argued, could have been told in a fraction of the pages if it were purely about the truth. Onlookers were left wondering if all that extra content was a smokescreen, one carefully constructed to sway readers before the judge ever had a chance to speak. A video clip hyped by the accusing side as unassailable proof soon took center stage. Early press leaks teased it as an explosive revelation, footage so disturbing that it would solidify the accused party's guilt. The Star leading the lawsuit hinted that once the world saw it, there'd be no debate left about who was at fault. Social media lit up as fans and critics alike braced for a shocking visual. But when the complete, unedited footage finally surfaced, it painted a drastically different picture. Instead of showing someone being harmed or coerced, viewers saw a setting that appeared collaborative, even friendly. Many were stunned to see the same accuser appearing relaxed, and at times even playful. Commentators pointed out the glaring discrepancy. How could something touted as evidence of trauma reflect such a casual, engaged atmosphere? The fallout was swift. Legal observers noted a key principle of courtroom strategy. If a single, pivotal claim is exposed as false or misleading, it casts doubt on everything else. Suddenly, statements from the Star witness were scrutinized more severely. Unanswered questions mounted. Had elements of the video been exaggerated for effect? Why hype a piece of evidence guaranteed to backfire? The credibility gap widened, making it harder for the accusing side to maintain the moral high ground they had tried to claim. Out of nowhere, jaw-dropping allegations of a 9-figure hush payment tore through the rumor mill. The word bribe hung in the air, impossible to ignore. $100 million is no small sum, even in showbiz, so if such a figure was being tossed around to manipulate the legal process, that suggested levels of desperation and fear not commonly seen outside of blockbuster films. Simultaneously, the accusing party pushed for an attorney's eyes only motion, which would effectively seal certain evidence away from prying eyes, including those of the defendant.
I guess Blakelively's concrete evidence isn't as concrete as she hyped. Meanwhile, the only evidence we're actually getting is stuff that's exposing Blakelively.
She's quoted as saying, "I actually poisoned the whole cast against her co-star and boyfriend, Penn Badgley."
This was blatant overreach, signaling that the hidden documents might do more damage to the accuser's case than to the accused if revealed. Legal analysts weighed in on what might motivate such a move. If truly incriminating proof existed, wouldn't the Star want to showcase it openly to the judge, jury, and media? The secrecy begged the question, what are they so determined to hide? Even more compelling was the judge's unwavering stance. Known for his intolerance of legal strong-arming, he questioned the necessity of burying details that were central to the case. By shutting the door on a public examination, the Star risked the court interpreting it as a stalling tactic, or worse, an attempt to conceal contradictions. In that moment, it became undeniably clear. In a court of law, no star power can overshadow the judge's commitment to transparency and factual evidence. Seemingly grasping for new angles, the accusing side introduced 2 actresses who claimed they had similar experiences. That might have been impactful if anyone knew who they were, but no names or official documents were included. No timeline, no context. These phantom witnesses hovered in the rumor sphere, fueling suspicion that they'd been conjured more for dramatic flair than for truth. Critics asked, if their testimonies are vital, why stay in the shadows? Why not bring them into the courtroom where it counts? Then came the strangest twist, complaints about the defendant's excessive niceness. Apparently, a culture of positivity, friendly sign-offs and emails, and philanthropic gestures toward the less fortunate were being framed as suspicious behavior. In an industry teeming with scandals, from covert buyouts to leaked tapes of expletive-filled tirades, labeling kindness as toxic positivity sounded surreal. Was this truly a legitimate claim, or was someone just throwing every possible accusation at the wall to see what might stick? Public sentiment took a turn at this point. Neutral observers, who'd been patiently following the labyrinth of allegations, began outright questioning the accuser's motives. Even talk show hosts joined the skepticism.
The judge dismissed it and said there's no case here.
It really is an impactful and powerful piece of evidence that's going to go against Lively.
Blakelively, if they find that she just was dishonest and lied on one single point of evidence in this case, in her testimony, the jury instruction says that they are allowed to discount her entire testimony.
Cracking jokes about how friendly emails might somehow be considered grounds for a lawsuit. Meanwhile, the real question, did the star have any genuine evidence of wrongdoing, still hung unanswered. For many, this spectacle confirmed that the lawsuit was devolving into a tabloid saga far removed from genuine legal dispute. At the height of the chaos, rumors spread that the star couple enlisted the help of PR specialists with backgrounds in intelligence agencies, people rumored to have invisible hand expertise in shaping public narratives and burying negative stories. In Hollywood, it's not uncommon for big names to hire top-tier crisis managers, but CIA-caliber operatives, that's an entirely different level of hush-hush cleanup. While this might sound like a spy thriller, several well-placed sources insisted it was real. The couple, reeling from back-to-back legal setbacks, reportedly believed only the most sophisticated spin doctors could salvage their public image. These crisis pros were said to be the kind who've managed major political embarrassments or navigated national security cover-ups. The implication was clear. If they couldn't fix this spiraling lawsuit, nobody could. But even a golden team of hush specialists can't easily mask blatant contradictions in sworn statements or tamper with recognized legal evidence. The tide of public opinion had begun to shift firmly against the star couple by this point. Observers noted that if they were truly innocent, they wouldn't need expert manipulators to manage their story. Genuine innocence typically shines under scrutiny, whereas orchestrated illusions crumble once judges, journalists, and the internet's watchful eyes start digging into the facts. In a twist nobody anticipated, the star couple's legal team waged an all-out war to keep Taylor Swift's personal messages under wraps. Why? Fans and lawyers wondered. If the text had any chance of exonerating the couple, you'd expect them to be paraded as the ultimate proof of innocence. Instead, we saw frantic attempts to seal them away, fueling speculation that these messages contained incriminating discussions about shaping press coverage or pulling strings behind the scenes. Legal experts chimed in, suggesting that private correspondences between the couple and Swift might detail behind-the-curtain plans to sway executives or tarnish someone's reputation. If those messages confirmed that they'd manipulated narratives or coordinated harmful accusations, it could dismantle their credibility beyond repair. The very act of fighting to hide the texts raised a colossal red flag. After all, if you're confident in your moral stance, you typically want full transparency to prove it. Fans of Taylor Swift, already protective of her brand, looked on in horror at the thought of her name being entangled in a fiasco that had little to do with her. Some called the star couple's legal strategy a scorched earth approach, one that risked pulling innocent bystanders into a messy battle just to preserve their own reputations. No matter the intention, one reality became impossible to ignore. The more they fought to keep secrets, the more suspicious everything looked. This lawsuit, once hyped as a defining moment of truth, has morphed into a cautionary tale for anyone who thinks celebrity status grants immunity from consequences. Each sensational strategy, be it the sprawling complaint, the smoking gun video, the bribery whispers, or the attempt to bury texts, backfired, leaving a trail of contradictions and diminishing credibility. The judge's patience has worn thin. Public opinion has shifted from intrigued sympathy to outright disbelief. For the couple at the center of this maelstrom, the fallout runs deeper than any single court verdict. Even if they opt for a settlement, one filled with non-disclosure clauses and mutual gag, the seeds of doubt have already taken root. Industry peers who once fawned over them may now question every public statement or philanthropic gesture, wondering if it's just another calculated performance. Fans, too, might start asking whether the personas they adored on screen reflect the reality off-screen. Ultimately, the entire debacle underscores a timeless truth. In a courtroom, star power pales beside actual evidence. Public relations armies can reframe a story for a while, but they can't erase facts that emerge under oath. The saga reveals that even Hollywood's brightest faces cannot outrun a judge's search for authenticity. So as the dust settles on this extraordinary legal drama, we're left with a sobering reminder. Sometimes the loudest, showiest lawsuits end not with a triumphant finale, but with reputations quietly crumbling under the weight of their own illusions.